Welcome to you all. Now I am going to present on race and ethnicity, an important issue in the field of genetics. Me myself, Dr. Khadiza Yasmin, resident, MS Anatomy BSMMU. At the end of the session, the audience will be able to develop an understanding of how different approaches have been taken in defining the terms race and ethnicity, develop a basic understanding of how genetics is being used in defining individuals' racial or ethnic identities, discuss some issues arising from naming different populations considering their race and ethnicity. At the beginning, I want to share a quotation of Martin Luther King, who was the most visible leader in the civil rights movement. I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. From this quotation, we can predict that at that time, skin color was definitely considered as something special, so that it was used as a parameter for judging a person. This is our world, and we, around 7.5 billion people, are living here. From this crowd, if I select some people, say this portion, and have a closer look at them, I may find many types of faces like them, and we can see that they have certainly some differences in their looks. They are different in skin color, different in facial configuration, different in eye color, and different in hair color also. On the basis of these differences, the total human species has been categorized into 3 main groups, and each individual group is known as a race. Let's know the definition of race. American Anthropological Association defines race as a group of people who have similarities in biological traits generally viewed as distinct by society. The word race is from Italian razza, which means breed, that interprets an identifiable group of people who share a common descent. Here, note that the meaning is related to common descent, but American Anthropological Association doesn't keep this in their definition. The name of the 3 major races are Caucasoid, Negroid, and Mongoloid. Now, we will see which differences are present among the 3 races regarding the above mentioned points. The Caucasoid have pale reddish white to olive brown skin color. The Negroid have brown to brown black skin color. The Mongoloid have saffron to yellow brown skin color. The Negroid have narrow to medium broad face with no prognathism. The Negroid have medium broad to narrow face with prognathism. The Mongoloid have medium broad to very broad face with no prognathism. The Caucasoid have light brown to dark brown and straight to wavy hair. The Negroid have brown black coarse hair, and the Mongoloid have brown to brown black straight hair. The Caucasoid have light blue to dark brown eye. The Negroid have brown to brown black eye, and the Mongoloid have brown to dark brown eye with medial epicanthic fold. Not only in living body, Racial differences are also present in bones. The skull is the mostly used bone to identify the race of an individual. So, let's see what the differences between the skulls of the three races. The skull of the Caucasoid have circular orbit, the Negroid have rectangular orbit, and the Mongoloid have circular orbit. The Caucasoid have narrow nasal apertures, the Negroid have wide nasal apertures, and the Mongoloid have heart-shaped nasal apertures. The Caucasoid have sharp and pronounced nasal bridge, the Negroid have very flat nasal bridge, and the Mongoloid have less pronounced nasal bridge. The Caucasoid have small teeth, the Negroid have large teeth and significantly protruded jaw, and the Mongoloid have distinctive shovel-shaped upper incisors. Let's go to the historical view of racial groups. In ancient civilization, before 5th century AD, the Greek and Roman scholars had no knowledge about evolutionary theory or genetic variability. They believed that environmental factors are responsible for physical variations among different populations. In the medieval period, from 5th to 15th century AD, the idea of race got mixed with the religious belief. They thought that all humans have descended from Japheth, Ham, and Shem, the three sons of Noah, who was the last founder of Abraham religion. Among the three sons, Ham was punished by the god for his sinful acts and became black. So that time any black person was treated as a sinful man because he is the progeny of Ham. Actually, from the medieval period, racial discrimination was introduced. But in 9th century AD, Al-Jahiz, an Afro-Arab Islamic philosopher, and in 14th century AD, Ibn Khaldun, an Islamic sociologist, attempted to explain that skin color, especially black skin color, is directly related to the hot climate of sub-Saharan Africa. In 19th century, Alphonse Bertillon, who was a French police officer, measured the shape and size of skulls of three races and related the result to differences in intelligence and behavior, and he claimed the race is a valid scientific category. The 19th century was the witness of violence of American genocide from 1846 to 1878. During American genocide, around 16,000 Native Americans were killed by US Army. And the 20th century saw the violence of Holocaust from 1941 to 1945. During Holocaust, around 6 million Jews were killed by Nazi Germany. Behind these fatal consequences, racial discrimination was one of the major causes. In 1950, as a response to the Nazism, UNESCO was formed and released a statement that there is no biological determinant or basis for race. Till now, we have seen three distinct types of races through which three races can be identified individually. But there are a lot of phenotypical variation in human group, like this, and these people can't be placed into a definite racial group. So, for categorizing the people of different phenotypical variations and to eradicate the racial discrimination, in 1972, a new word, ethnicity, replaced race in the Oxford Dictionary. Now, how is ethnicity defined? American Sociological Association defines ethnicity as a socially defined category based on cultural, socioeconomic, religious, and political qualities of human groups. The word ethnicity is from Greek ethnos, which means nation. Basically, ethnicity encompasses language, diet, religion, dress, customs, historical identity, and also common ancestral origin. Now I will show you some groups of people from different countries considered as of different ethnicities. They are Malay people of Indonesia. They are Fijians people of Fiji. They are Mayan people of South Mexico. They are Romani people of Europe. They are Punjabi people of India. They are Bengali people of Bangladesh. They are Chakma people of Bangladesh. They are Santal people of Bangladesh. They are Garo people of Bangladesh. In our country, the government of Bangladesh recognizes 27 ethnic groups. The relative proportions are something like this. Among the ethnic groups, Bengali is the largest and others are considered as ethnic minorities. From this picture, we can see that each group is different from other in dress up, culture, and physical features, but within groups, the people are almost similar. So, what are the differences between race and ethnicity? Race presumes shared biological traits, while ethnicity connotes shared cultural traits. Race generally can be hidden, while ethnicity can be displayed or hidden. A person has no control over his race. It depends on how he is perceived by others. On the other hand, ethnicity can be adopted, ignored, broadened, or changed by an individual. But sometimes the lines blur between one's identity and how that person is perceived by others. Let's know about the scientific explanation of human variation. We all know that genotype regulates the phenotype. That means genetic makeup of an individual regulates the physical and biochemical character of that individual. Basically, it is a common misconception. Genetic factors have a large influence on phenotypical character, but they are just one piece of a much larger picture. The Human Genome Project from 1990 to 2005 has mapped the entire genetic material of the human cell, and after that it has revealed the genetic similarity between human beings are 99.99%. Genetic variations occur mainly due to mutation, gene flow, and sexual reproduction. Basically, we are the result of interaction between our genes and the environment. Now, the question is, how environment regulate our phenotypical characters? Actually, environment determines which genetic variations are more suitable for survival. Among different types of environmental factors, two factors are extremely important. That's the nutrition and climate. A significant portion of human variability can be controlled by nutrition and diet. For example, we know that the genetic constitution of identical twins are almost same, but here we can see that they have well differences in their height, because the shorter one was suffering from malabsorption syndrome from childhood. Now I will show how climate causes human variation. Equator is an imaginary line around the middle of a planet, halfway between the north and south poles. Twice a year, the sun passes directly over the equator. So, the equatorial regions experience a hot climate. For this reason, environments select darker skinned people near to the equatorial region so that high content of melanin can protect from ultraviolet ray of sunlight and prevent skin cancer. On the contrary, lighter skin appear far from the equator, and it enables the body to prepare greater amount of vitamin D and prevent rickets, though little amount of sunlight exposure. Here, it should be kept in mind that the number of melanocytes is equal in whole human species, but the gene responsible for melanin synthesis express variably and produce variation in skin color. People adapted to cold climate have acquired genetic trait that provide them extra layer of body fat, which accounts for the epicanthic fold over their eyes. So here we see that race is a social constructed term, but racial criteria such as color variation of skin, epicanthic fold have certain genetic basis. Now the question is, are there genetic variations present in different ethnic groups? I will give the answer by two examples. The first one is, they are the Bajau people of Indonesia. For more than 1,000 years, they are the nomadic diver, catch fish and seafood for their survival. They can reach up to 200 feet of underwater and can hold breath for 8 to 10 minutes naturally. Recently, it has found that they all have larger spleen, which contracts during diving and creates 9% increased oxygen supply by ejecting more oxygenated RBC into the circulation. Previously, it was thought that these changes have occurred due to adaptation with their profession, but recently it has found that a gene named PDE10A is responsible for this splenic enlargement. Another example is the Sherpas of Mount Everest. They live at high plateau of Himalaya, around 14,000 feet above sea level. Previously, it was thought that people living at high altitude have larger lung volumes as an adaptive change, but now it is proved that the Sherpas mitochondria are more functional than the lowlanders, and so that they can use oxygen more effectively. This change is a result of DNA mutation also. So these are some examples of anatomical variation related to ethnic groups. In 2006, a project is launched named Human Variome Project with the target of categorization and variation of clinically important genes. In this project, it has been seen that racial and ethnic variation is also related to clinical pathology. Here, I will give some examples of monogenic disorders such as cystic fibrosis due to mutation in F508 gene are common in the whites. Sickle cell disease due to mutation in hemoglobin B gene are common in African and Afro-American. Duchenne muscular dystrophy due to mutation in dystrophin gene are common in Hispanic black and non-Hispanic whites. Huntington disease due to mutation in IT15 gene are common in Mongoloids and African black. And here some examples of non-communicable multifactorial polygenic disorders such as coronary artery disease, common in Afro-Americans, cerebrovascular disease, common in Black Hispanics, American Indians, diabetes, common in Asians. Now look at these terms: African, Mongoloid, Afro-American, Hispanic, Black, Asian, and White. All of these terms are used to identify different racial or ethnic groups. So we see that some genetic diseases are more common in specific ethnic and racial groups. As genetic research is involved with different types of genetic variation and clinically important genes among total human population, so racial and ethnic terms are incorporated into the genetic researches. But these terms may create controversies if they are used improperly and imprecisely. For example, it is an health survey report for England performed on ethnic minority groups. The report said the prevalence of stroke is lower in Chinese men and women. Bangladeshi and Pakistani groups show higher rate of cardiovascular disease. Cancer rates tend to be lower in black people. Black and ethnic minority patients are more likely to receive a diagnosis of mental illness. Here, from the survey report, I have marked some terms with red color: Chinese, Bangladeshi, Pakistani, black and ethnic minority. These terms provide no specific idea about the sample population. Use of generalized terms without scientific justification may cause confusion, misinterpretation, and social controversy. For explanation, I want to pick a term named Bangladeshi. Actually, I have chosen this term because there is an ongoing controversy between this term with another term named Bengali in our country regarding genetic and anthropometric researches. Basically, Bangladeshi is a political term in terms of country of Bangladesh. Bangladeshi means collection of population of Bengali or non-Bengali ethno-religious groups reside in Bangladesh. The number of total Bangladeshi people is around 168 million. Such as they all are Bangladeshi, but they are different in their culture, language, food habit, religion, customs, and definitely different in ancestral origin. So, genetically they also vary from each other. So, when we simply use the term Bangladeshi, the sample made from Bengali group or from Santal group or from Chakma group, as they are genetically variable, so any genetic disease or variation may become very common in any group, but for utilizing such generalized term will give a confusing result of that research. On the other hand, Bengali is the third largest ethnic group in the world. They reside in Bangladesh, Indian states of West Bengal, Tripura, Assam's Barak Valley, Andaman and Nicobar Island, and others. They are mixed breed of Dravidians, Mongols, and Aryans. The number of total Bengali population is 228 to 243 million. They are the Bengali people from Assam, India-Bangladesh border, and Tripura. Though they have difference in religion and geographical perspectives, ancestrally they are mixed racial and chance of genetic similarity among this population is more. Because within ethnic group, genetic similarities are around 85%. Now, I will show titles of some journal published from India where Bengali people was the sample population. The first title is Haptoglobin and Birth Weight in Bengali Population. The second title is Study of Selected HLA-A and HLA-B antigens by PCR SSP method in Bengali population of Siliguri and adjoining areas of West Bengal. And the last title is Diversity of killer cell immunoglobulin-like receptor genes in the Bengali population of northern West Bengal, India. Among these titles, obviously from the last journal title, we can get a clear idea about the sample makeup and correlate the genetic diseases and variabilities more accurately. These types of description of sampling data is important because allele frequencies can be changed in a population owing to demography, migration, and genetic drift in a short lifespan. From this sense, Bengali is more specific term both genetically and ethnically. Here are some recommendations for the researchers regarding the description of racial or ethnic terms in researches or publications. Use specific names for population or group of people closely reflecting the makeup of the sample. Avoid overly broad categorized terms. Respect the cultural sensitivities of the populations during use of ethnological information. Allow multiple choices when asking about race or ethnicity. Though race and ethnicity terms may be useful in scientific researches, but we should keep in mind that these terms should not be used to judge any person, group, or nation. And everyone should be colorblind to see the beauty of people. These are my references. Thank you.